Welcome to the Backyard Professor Responds videos once more. A gal named Christine of her podcast, The Endless Void, had a fascinating discussion with Mike Gold, a former NASA administrator, and he was at the briefing where Lue Elizondo showed that idiotic photograph, and that's all anyone wants to concentrate on. Well, let's focus on what was accomplished and quit worrying about what Lue Elizondo said. She brings up some excellent points, and he suggests some very interesting ideas, but there is a specific clip where Eric Davis is talking to a sitting House of Congress, Eric Burleson of the House Oversight Committee. I do believe they're the ones that hired David Grush, and he is talking to him about the different alien species. Now, this is a sitting member of Congress. Just within the last couple of years, say 5, this wouldn't possibly have happened. Now Congress is getting information, and the stigma is disappearing, and they're not mocking it, and they're continuing to set forward more hearings to hear more about it, that they are doing public hearings so that we can get in on it. Now, this is vital, and the mainstream media is completely ignoring this. Let's take a look.
That something like this can be said on Capitol Hill, but I bet most of you haven't heard anything about it. What you're about to see is a sitting member of Congress asking a respected astrophysicist about the different types of alien or extraterrestrial species that the U.S. government has allegedly come into contact with.
Do you have, or can you comment on whatever species have been piloting these craft? How are they large? Are they multiple species? Are they like, what was their size, and how many are usually on a craft?
They're typically the multiple species. People familiar with the Greys, the Nordics. People have talked about reptilians and insectoids. It's not that they're reptilian or insectoid, it's that they resemble to the recipient of reptile or an insect type human, because they have this head and 4 limbs and torso.
So large, small?
Human size, human scale.
And are there, how many are crewed?
Well, the Greys I'm familiar with from investigating the crash at Colonia, which is misnamed the crash at Roswell. It's not the crash at Roswell, it's the crash at Colonia, Mexico. Those were Greys. The Nordics are typically human sized, probably, I come 5-6 feet tall. The same with the people who mislabel reptilian insectoid, they're roughly that height too. I haven't heard anything about anything 7 or 8 feet.
What? What did you just say? How are more people not talking about this? I don't know if this is true or not true. I've got no evidence. All I know is that Eric Davis, who is well known for his involvement in classified U.S. government programs, is telling a sitting member of Congress, a member of the House Oversight Committee, Congressman Eric Burleson, that the U.S. government is aware of 4 different types of alien species. What? Now, this was just a very small part of a 4-hour-long briefing, not a full hearing, but a briefing that took place on Capitol Hill. It was hosted by the House Oversight Committee and the nonprofit, the UAP Disclosure Fund. Joining me now is one of the other speakers.
That is exquisite when you get the context of who was saying what to who and the questions that they were asking. And my note here is Congress is now hearing about the alien species. Now, Eric Davis hasn't heard of anything 7, 8 feet taller. And yet we have records of multiple visitations of eyewitnesses saying that the blue aliens are exactly that tall, 8, sometimes 9 feet tall, and there are multiple attestations of those from different people in different walks of life occurring at different times in different parts of the world. They're not in collusion, they're experiencing aliens, and they call them the blues. So this is fascinating that the mainstream media, again, is not touching this with a 10-foot pole. They did the New Jersey drones after they got shamed into covering it, I'm quite sure. And they did okay for a week or two. But how is no one curious about the different alien species and discussing this and trying to analyze the comparisons and contrasts of them? Where are the George Knapps in journalism today? Now, George Knapp is still very active, thank goodness. Give that man a gold star. He is tremendous. But why aren't there more George Knapps insisting on talking about this topic in mainstream media? That is a very important point that she makes. I'm not going to say more than that at this point because I want to get to another segment where she is talking to Mike Gold, a former NASA administrator, and he was in the last November hearing. Everyone thought he was the weakest one. They thought he was just trying to get money for NASA. You know, they're all grifters. You guys think everything is grifting because they're asking for money. Well, on my channel, I spend thousands of dollars a year just to bring you what I'm doing. It's not free. And I might make $100 a month. Is that grifting? Come on. That excuse is getting quite old quite fast. Do you go to movies bitching that you have to pay $20? Those damn theater grifters. Do you watch your television and gripe about having to pay for those programs? I mean, I'm kind of on a roll on this because I did my taxes this year. And when I looked at how much I am spending just to have a YouTube channel, you guys think it's all making money. Jess Michaels has 30, 40, 50 times the amounts of views than I do every show he does. And he has said he's still not making any money. So, you know, this issue of being grifters and making money and all that, and it's all fake because everyone wants money. I don't buy that. Not at all. From my own experience and understanding a bit more of how all of this works. So Mike Gold says
security. And as I said yesterday, if there's even a small chance that we are truly dealing with exotic technology, we cannot risk technological surprise. We cannot risk falling behind China in those issues. As I said, let's not let a lack of vision turn into a lack of freedom.
That hits powerful. Why all the secrecy? Just tell us already. So if they told you to satisfy your curiosity as a member of the public in the United States, and China gets a hold of all that information, and they are working faster on this than our own American government that is being slashed tooth and nail right now so that even NASA isn't going to properly function. And because of our goddamn government short-sightedness, they might even cancel the space telescopes now, etc., etc. They're running roughshod on anything they don't like. What if China doesn't do that and they get exotic technology first and then they take over the rest of the world? That's what we're facing. Now, I get it. There's a fear factor here. I get that. I understand that. But quite frankly, it's a valid fear factor. The nuclear arms race put us into a Cold War that has set us back trillions of dollars. What would a UFO technology Cold War cost us? Yeah. So I get it. There has to be some secrecy to stuff. Yeah. Exactly what materials are you using to make UFOs and why? You have anti-gravity. How exactly does it work and all? You really want that out in the public? So that all of our enemies can also get that? If we disclose information like that and they're missing an important piece of the puzzle, but they're ahead of us, and all of a sudden they say, hey, that's the answer to us finishing our project first, and they get finished, it's over. If China got valid Tic Tacs that travel like the Tic Tacs that have been experienced and we're familiar with, and then use that for war, it's over. We can't defeat them. And it's not like they're the friends of America, who of all countries have tried to constantly hack our computers more than China, right? So, I mean, there is this issue of tension that we have no choice but to pay attention to at this point. But it's what he says next that I want to focus on. I cannot agree stronger with this. This is the edge that we have lost as an American society because we are so focused on business and entertainment that we are the brainwashed ones, and we are the ones being so dumbed down that we have this major problem. What Mike Gold says next is gold.
Very generous with your time, Mike. What would you say to anybody watching this who completely shuts it down the minute they hear UFO, UAPs, and they're just like, these are crazy people? What do you say to those people who just aren't buying any of this?
I say, do you believe in the scientific method? Do you believe in science? Because if you do, then you should be fascinated and focused on anomalies, whether it's the theory of general relativity, quantum mechanics, and the progress in both of those fields. They were all driven by the study of anomalies. So if you're not interested in anomalous data, you're missing the point of how we can progress, how we can learn. And by the way, there's a bit of historical precedence for this, that humanity used to believe that Earth was the center of the universe and the sun rotated around us. Then we find out that's not true. And you know, I heard the people who were the initial proponents of that took some slings and arrows back in the day. Now, for the first time, we have potential evidence of biological life on another planet. I believe that if history has taught us anything, it's that we need to be more and more modest as to how unique or special Earth and humanity is, which is why these questions are worth asking. And I would say for any skeptics, follow the science. Look at the data.
With that said, earlier in the discussion, which I'll share a link in the description to that video underneath this one in my description, he describes the impact of data collecting and its importance and how this process expands us. Now, my analogy for that would be a balloon is not just instantly blown up with just one breath. You blow a breath, you say, oh, come on already, get the balloon the 4-foot size it's supposed to be. You blow the second. Oh, now you're stalling for time. Give us the balloon already, for crying out loud. It doesn't just happen instantaneously. Mathematics has been going on for centuries, and we are still learning more about it. So has relativity. It's been around for over a century now. Quantum physics, the same thing. And we're still learning more and more about it. It's not an end goal that we're trying to achieve. It's a process of understanding so that with the proper data and the complete data, we can make wise decisions of what to do with that data. If you don't have the full data of how to make a rocket and you go ahead and attempt to make the rocket anyway, you're going to fail and you lose hundreds of millions of dollars. It's ridiculous to get impatient with it if the full data isn't there that allows you to set that rocket up into space. I think it's similar to this UFO topic. He also said in this interview, there's nothing new that was presented at this briefing. That's not the point. We already all know there's alien species in this community. There are at least 100 times more people in the world that don't even know UFOs are real yet. Those are the people we need to be reaching because they may have knowledge and data and experiences. And Six Killer Clark, the Sky People and the Space Indians, her research is showing that there are a lot of untapped sources that give us the patterns to understand more about the aliens that we don't have normally. So if we don't know about them, how can we possibly begin to interact with them and communicate with them properly instead of just shooting them down with the ridiculous military mindset that has been predominantly orchestrated in this issue? We need to get rid of the military attitude and start getting a new attitude of, hey, who are you? Let's get together and study together. That is the approach I would suggest would be more fruitful to approach. But at the same time, if there have been UFO crashes all around the world and other countries don't have the morals and the fortitude to get to know these things and study these alien civilizations, and they just shoot them down, take their technology in order to destroy everyone else, we have no choice but to get that technology and do that as well. Otherwise, we end up being killed. Unfortunately, that's the military mindset. That's why we should quit giving trillions of dollars to the military. For what? Quit making enemies, you dumbasses. It's so astonishing how the government shoots itself in the foot nonstop every day with so many of their idiotic policies, old and new, when there really is genuinely a better way to go about living as societies on Earth. But, you know, that's where we're at right now. So fun stuff, always interesting to learn more perspectives. That's very necessary because there may be a missing key that helps put more pieces of this puzzle together. So stay tuned as we keep on looking and keep finding new materials. I appreciate all your support. Hit the like and subscribe button. I should have said this at the front of the video. I swear to goodness, I'm going to figure that out someday soon. Share the video with those you love and like, and even those you don't love and like. And I will catch up to you just as soon as I can. Have a great night.